because I don't have a ton of time to sit up there and discuss these world shaking issues with
Mm.
Jensen today. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, Jensen. How are you?
I'm doing quite fine, thank you, sir. Things are definitely getting interesting over there, aren't they?
Well, okay. First of all, am I missing something about Putin?
Uh, he's a loon.
You think he's a loon?
I kind of do think he's a loon. That's the bit that's worrying me. Okay, I don't, I don't want him to be. Okay, to be completely honest, you'd think he was like halfway intelligent, but I've got the horrible feeling he's not. There's rumours that he's doing this because he believes, and I quote, Ukraine is full of Nazis.
Right,
Ukraine.
right.
Um, you say that as though this doesn't shock you. Okay, go on, explain.
Well, it doesn't shock me in a number of ways. Okay.
Okay.
Um, the Ukraine probably does have a number of actual Nazis in it, right?
Fair.
Okay, so and to be honest, the money and the things that they've been given, right, coming from the various intelligence agencies around the world, probably fuels some of that,
Yeah.
right? You got to understand this. When the wall fell, all right, everyone was like, okay, now we get rid of these communists, right?
Yeah.
So who would the intel agencies fund to go out there and massacre and kill communists,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
Now they do mobsters, and especially mobsters that let's be honest. There are white supremacist monsters that would be perfect for this role.
Yeah. No, that's
Okay,
fair.
so in the Ukraine, there was a quote unquote resurgence of Nazi paraphernalia and stuff. Okay, it existed.
Yeah.
Okay, now that doesn't mean that I'm not trying to make a justification here for Putin. Don't misunderstand.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just pointing out that it's not that to me is not illogical. Okay, to say that they're going around getting these people and rounding them up and shooting them. Right now, to
Okay.
me, what they're doing basically sees purging any kind of Western philosophy. All right, as it goes along. But my question with Putin is more along the lines of the press are making it sound like, oh, he's mad and he's frustrated and he's demanding that. Where do you see that? Right? If you want to talk about what kind of a monster Putin is, you'd better understand that he's a cold, calculating, brutal man.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
He's not going to react with emotion and heat. He's not. He's not
Okay.
going to say it's not a matter of him getting upset on a personal level that he sees this as a personal outrage against him. He doesn't give a shit about that, right?
Fair.
And he doesn't give a shit about you, your fifis, my fifis, or anybody else's fifis. He's just a matter of are you in my way or not? And if you are in my way, I'm going to find a way to remove you. And
But
I'm going to sit up there and calculate: is it better
but
just to put a bullet in your head, gas you with nerve gas, or just make you disappear quietly?
but
That's
Nomad, you forget one tiny thing. My fifis are important, man. Carry on. Sorry, dude. It had to be
your
said.
fifis are important there. Okay.
Yeah, the whole world revolves around me. My fifis tell me this.
I'm
Now
just
tell
giving.
me that's not how the others feel, by the way.
That is. I know that
Mm,
is. But that's the problem. Is
yeah.
you the thing that's getting to me is these people keep making such nonsensical comments about who Putin is. Putin is the enemy, and if you can't understand who the enemy is, if you think you're gonna sit up there and make these kind of pronouncements about who the enemy is, and they're obviously wrong. Okay, they're
Yeah,
obviously wrong here.
yeah,
No, I'm not. I don't know what's going on over there, all right? Because it's impossible to know.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be real blunt with you. It's impossible to know all the different things that are going on over there. All I can do is assess this from a my experiences and my understanding of things.
Hmm.
And my understanding and my experience of things is that Putin went in here. Now, if he went in there with the idea that he could just kick the door open and the whole rotten structure of the Ukrainians would fall apart, all right. If he did that, I have to question who was telling him and giving him advice that this could take place, because everyone should have been, all of his leadership on his team should have been warning him, no, the Ukrainians are going to fight.
I've worked out who told him. It was Biden. It's the only way to explain the stupidity of a lot of it. Let's be honest.
Well, okay, but I mean, you think that Biden was going to sit up there and tell Zelensky to roll over? And he may have. Zelensky may have just told him to go pound sand. All right, okay, be honest about that. But
Let's be honest. Okay, Biden's version is more of a go on, roll over. I'll tickle your belly. Go on. That's probably what he said, or at least something similar.
well, if Putin and I can, just to let people understand this, Biden came out and green lighted this invasion,
Yes.
okay, because of his stupid commentary, right? So the idea that there was going to that a limited invasion would be tolerated,
Hmm.
okay. Now the Ukrainians, of course, what do you mean a limited invasion is tolerable? What the hell's wrong with you, freaking old Goddard, right?
Yeah.
So the what's going on over there in a lot of ways has a lot to do with Biden's stupidity. All right,
Yeah.
and the fact that he thinks Biden is weak. And let's be perfectly honest, the one Ukrainian legislator, why aren't you doing anything to shut off all the gas and oil from Putin? And of course nobody said. Look, you want to give him fighters? You want to give him when I say fighters, I mean fighter jets. You want to give him
Yeah.
fighter jets? You want to give the Ukrainians Stinger missiles and all these other things? Okay, yeah, okay. Just a little while ago, before I came on, there was a recent report of a Russian, or a Ukrainian rather,
Hmm.
radar site getting taken out. Right
Okay.
now, let's be perfectly honest. If this was the United States, if this was the UK going in full bore on something,
Yeah.
those things would have been gone on the first day.
Yes.
Right, the mop up would have been on the second or third day. Right, they would have been gone.
Yeah. No. I agree. Oh, one thing about it, I want to say to you. You remember there was that whole thing about Snake Island, where the people in the lighthouse turned around to the Russians and said "screw you" to them, and then got killed. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Apparently, that's actually been proved to be a load of rubbish, and apparently, and I'm saying this way very carefully, what is actually going to happen is that the Russians kidnapped them are actually going to be giving them back soon. So yet again, people are lying to us in the media. I can tell how shocked you are that the media are lying.
Well, I can believe that they told the Russians to go f off. I can
Oh
also
yeah.
believe that the Russians then dropped the bomb and said, "Have you thought about it again?" and then going, "Well, yeah, because let's be perfectly frank, okay? These guys on this island,
Yeah.
you could die in place, but what does it serve?
True.
in this situation, can you delay the enemy? Can you harm the enemy? Is there anything you can do to delay the enemy or harm the enemy? All right, that's worth your men's lives. Well, no.
Hmm.
Then why wouldn't you surrender?
Yeah,
Okay.
agree.
I'm not saying that these guys aren't valorous. I'm saying, please don't misunderstand me. Just
Mhm.
tell the Russians the first time to go f off.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
can. I'm
good.
actually kind of picturing this. It's like the Russians doing this. It's like, yeah, screw you. 116-inch gun shell later. It's like, I'm sorry. Would you like to say that again, please? I got confused. I didn't hear you properly. Was that you want to give up? I thought it was.
Here's where you'll be. All right,
Hmm.
here we'll meet you. We'll meet you. Yeah. Because at that point you're like, okay, you've done everything you can. You're not
Yeah.
gonna let me. You had if they had like an anti-ship missile or something they could fire. Even with the unlikelihood that it would do anything, fine. If they could, but if you're just gonna say, hey, look, I'm here. I can't. We're absolutely defenseless.
Hmm.
If you're absolutely defensive and you have no, I still don't understand why the Russians wanted the island.
No.
All right. I think it was more a line of these guys were probably talking shit on the radio, and the Russians sent a ship out there going, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah," and they said, "Yeah," and and a missile later was like, "Okay, we changed our minds," right? Which is okay. Actually,
Yeah.
you've done what you can do to harass the enemy. Let's be honest. There wasn't much
Fair.
more they could do, right?
True, and technically, they did make the Russians waste however many 100,000 or million or whatever it took for that missile. So technically, that is of benefit if
Well,
you're
right.
looking at a cost benefit process.
Right. At that point, yeah, you stuck it to them. You did what you could, but I was looking at that when I first heard about it. I was like, these guys are not. These guys are. Well, look, it's one thing to sit up there and be, talk bravado, right,
Hmm.
and stand up to this kind of stuff. But you'd better be willing to back something up. If you have no ability to back it up, what the hell would be the point, right? The
Yeah.
fact that I heard that they did get captured and surrendered. Actually, my estimation of the military went up a bit from where it was because that commander at least wasn't wasting his men for no reason,
True.
right? There comes
True.
a point, when you're doing this kind of stuff where yeah, there's reasons to fight, and there are reasons to hold on to the last man, right? If it's
Yeah.
going to make some kind of military sense to do so,
Yes.
right? If it's not, then what the hell's the point? If you want to talk about the Thermopylae, the 300, right?
Yeah.
There was a reason they were holding on, and that was to allow the Greek forces to consolidate,
Hmm.
okay? And which allowed them to, and it ends with the Battle of Marathon. That
Yeah.
is understandable, okay? Because you're in a no-win situation in that regard, right?
True.
The guys that went up in that pass knew that there was other passes that eventually the Persians would find. All right,
Yeah.
even if there wasn't a traitor, right? There was going to be sooner or later they were going to get around them,
Oh
right?
yeah.
That's just the way it was, right? And as soon as they knew that they were doing it because they saw them in the past because there was the past that they knew was going in there, they were monitoring it. They weren't stupid.
Hmm.
Once they realized that the Persians were headed there in force, they had a choice. They could either pull out, right, or they could stay.
Yeah.
Now, when you make that choice, that's a choice intentionally made that says, "Look, we know we're gonna get hit from both sides, right?
Hmm.
We know that we're gonna get surrounded. It's a matter of time, okay, for this to take place,
Yeah.
okay. Is it worth the effort? And the fact that they were still there delaying them was important in
Yeah.
in 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 how that battle was going to shape up the battles coming down further down were going to end up, right? Their battle was basically over, but that's why it was important for them, all right, to fight. And then of course it came down to, okay, why did they fight to the last man? Well, that's
Yeah.
just who the Spartans were.
There was one real, as far as I'm concerned, one real issue with all of it. You know what that was, don't you?
What's that?
It made a really crap film.
Well, they didn't make a crap film, right?
Let's
Because you could
break
have.
it down here. It was not good. Or at least the modern one wasn't good. I believe the I don't know, like 50s or 60s, whatever it was, version of it's actually quite good. But the new one was really bad.
Yeah, well, they try to turn it into a spectacle of who the Persians and everything were. And the Persians, look, you have to understand who Xerxes was, right? First of
Yeah.
all, the idea that Xerxes is this effeminate freaking Fruit Loop, that's not who Xerxes was.
No.
Okay, Xerxes was trained as a warrior. Xerxes could have hold his own on a battlefield.
Yeah.
All right, himself in personal combat. He was
Yep.
not a wallflower. He was not some freaking tatted up freaking earring piercings in every freaking hole you possibly could think of. Freaking lunatic, right?
Fair.
He was not, as they would call them, and the Greeks did tend to refer to the Persians as soft,
Yeah.
right? The Persians weren't necessarily soft.
No.
Okay.
But let's be fair, it's just a standard trick when it comes to any form of military. You immediately attempt to deperson the enemy and have them seen as soft. Like, I don't know if you've heard of it, but there is actually a thing called the French disease. Have you heard of this? Do you know where it comes from?
Where does it
Brit-
come from?
it's British.
Yeah,
It's actually, I think it was syphilis, and it actually originally started with British soldiers going over there, gave it to the French women, who gave it to the French soldiers, who gave it to basically everyone they bloody well could. And to be honest, I think some of the cows in the towns were looking a bit nervous. Okay, but no, it was called the French disease. It was a very well stated comment. It's like oh, what's his face, Bonaparte. Okay, everyone, the thing that everybody knows about Bonaparte, he was a midget. I take it this is something you will have heard, yes?
oh yes, oh yes,
Did you know he was actually taller than the average man of that era?
yes, yes. I do actually know
About
that.
an inch or so taller than most of the other people. Don't get me wrong, there were people that were taller, but he was basically one of the tall ones. But he is known as a midget.
Right, and the Napoleon complex, short
Yep.
man's disease, all this other crap that's a part
Yep.
of that all falls into under that as well.
It's just you're basically depersoning and demanning your opponent. It's a
Right.
fairly standard trick, unfortunately.
Well, and the thing is when you're talking about Putin, though, Putin is calculating. He's cold, and he in one of the calculations he made. Good afternoons, Sean.
Mhm.
Um, one of the things that people are not getting with this is he's cold, he's calculating, he's also murderous and a murderous thug. You got to understand this. And the fact that they weren't just leveling areas and leveling people, right, was obviously a tactic that he was using, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's intentional. But the thing that still comes back, the thing that I keep coming back to and trying to point out, okay, these the media talking about how he is personally feels frustrated and how he personally can end up with being on the docket. I'm telling you that that's not who that guy is.
Yep.
All right, and I'm telling you that now if what he's trying to do going in with the soft, as he puts it, velveted iron fist, right?
Hmm.
Well, velveted gloved iron fist,
Yeah.
and so to think that he won't pull off that freaking glove and just go waylay everything there, right?
Let's be honest, I'm waiting for that. By the way, Shirati has said that Napoleon was 5'6". That's about right, actually. I'm actually quite comfortable. That's a reasonable number.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Hmm.
it is reasonable, right? I think at the time they what was the average was like 5'4".
Yep. Oh, from Shirati, what pisses her off is that the internet are kicking the Russian citizens off of the internet. Have you heard about this? Busting up.
That's not a good thing, folks.
No, it's not. Okay. For the first thing, that is a stupid idea. How the hell are we supposed to listen in on them? And for the second, I know you're right. Of course you're right. You're always bloody right. You feel better now? Good.
Good pat her on the head. Go give her a cookie.
Give her a cookie. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Here's your gummy bear. Go over there.
Mhm.
Here's your little piece of chocolate. She is a woman. A little piece of chocolate would be good to go.
Yeah. Well, rumor has it she's a woman. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not really sure what cyborgs actually enjoy. Anyway, anyway, all that being said, right? What Putin is doing is going in there, in a very measured, short-term way. Now, there are certain expectations that I think that he's looking for, right? I think he's looking for Zelensky to basically give him carte blanche in those areas that he declared are independent, right?
Okay.
And that ain't happening. Okay. There's no way Zelensky can afford to do that. Right? It's one thing to say to accept the fact that the Crimea got ripped from them, right?
Yeah.
Because there was really nothing. There was nothing anybody could do to stop that. Absolutely nothing at that time. All right, that anybody could do in that kind of a situation is stop it. Okay, and let's be perfectly honest and perfectly frank here. The Russians had reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
And that had nothing to do with Putin. That there were Russian reasons for doing it. And I'm not ignoring the demographic shift, all right, on the eastern side of the Ukraine, which has a lot of freaking Russians in it. I'm not denying that that's the case, but there's no way possible for the Ukraine to maintain sovereignty and not maintain those areas.
Yeah.
So that's where the fighting is. That a lot of it, right? I think that this old Kabuki theater. I mean, they just talked about there's a column of 17 miles long of trucks and everything. Okay, if you tell me that, and let's be honest, if you tell me that as a military individual, right, and I'm in charge of things,
yeah,
I would be like, okay, where's it at? Bring in the B-52s. Let's flatten this entire area.
Yep.
Okay, that to me is like an opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, that's like, please blow the hell out of me. I don't see the Ukrainians doing that. I don't see them actually trying to force these issues. I hear a lot of things.
Yeah.
I see that some people are dying.
At the absolute minimum, you just have a flight of A-10s go over and giggle like an idiot, shooting up the front of the column. Because let's face it, them at the back ain't going nowhere.
Well, you shoot the front, you shoot the back, and then you have the A-10s. That's why you bring in B-52s.
Yeah, true.
You have the B-52s then go down the road, the regular roadway, with the A-10s flanking either side. So if somebody decides, hey, I'm getting the hell out of here. No, you only thought you were. Right?
Plane go, Bert. Yeah.
And if you don't believe that we would do something like that, ask the Iraqis.
Yeah, I was going to say they did.
All right, it was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
It was so bad that the American authorities, people don't know this, right? The American authorities went to former Vietnam veterans, right, to say, okay, what would happen if we showed all this video, right? Mm-hmm. And the Vietnam vet said, "Oh my God, this is worse than what we saw in Vietnam." And they're like, okay, maybe we don't want to show this to the public yet.
Fair, yeah.
But that highway of death, people, back in the day, I mean, it was, and the worst part about that whole thing, right, is the media being the dumbass media that it is. Because I was in during this time frame, right?
Yeah.
And I watched this, and I watched dumb commentators on CNN, right, make comments about how the Americans are not blowing up all the bridges, and there's this one bridge that's all the way across and everything, and everyone is lining up on this bridge, and the Americans aren't able to entrap them. And I'm like, you dumbasses.
Sorry, Nomad. Shirati has said, your opinion on the US removing Russia from the SWIFT banking. She would like your opinion.
That's the only that is a serious move. It is causing problems for the Russian people. More than anything else, it's going to cause problems for the Russian people. Is it really going to make a difference to Vlad and his goon squad? No. All right. If you want to hurt the Vlad and his goon squad, you would sit up there and tell them to stop selling oil.
Subtle things, then, huh?
If you really, seriously, I mean, what else are you going to do with this stuff? This stuff is just silly crap. And it's nice that the Germans are coming around saying, "Oh, we're going to sell weapons." Oh, congratulations, you're going to sell weapons, right? But if you want to know what Vlad is looking at, right, and why Vlad is laughing at the West, it doesn't take anything from the West seriously. It's stories like this.
Yeah.
Let me go here. Share screen, screen one, share. Security chief tells our spies to go woke with the full Ukrainian invasion imminent in Europe's worst crisis since World War II. MI5 and MI6 officers were being told to think about their white privilege and avoid using words such as grip and strong.
Yeah.
Britain's spies are being urged to consider their white privilege and declare their pronouns as Europe descends into war. A leaked guide to improving diversity and inclusion in the security services suggests that the agents should avoid gendered terms such as manpower.
Yeah.
Spies are advised against such words as strong and grip, which can reinforce dominant cultural patterns. They are encouraged not to speak on all male panels.
Wow. I agree with Sean. Britain's spies should tell them to get effed. He's not wrong. He really ain't.
This is what all of them should have been doing. Instead, they want to put out rainbow freaking flags in front of the Langley and CIA buildings. Yeah. They want to go out there. It's like
I feel embarrassed for these people and what they're doing. Just saying.
I'm not embarrassed for them. I want them shot. I want the leadership taking out these Ruperts, as you put them, or I want them actually gone. I want them horsewhipped out of the agencies.
Yes.
These are the problem people. These are the people you need to go back and go, oh, no. You obviously have never known what the hell you're doing. Goodbye. And put a bullet in their head, because if they're so stupid as to concentrate on that, they'll blab anything and everything that they may have actually come across that would hurt the damn nation. So you got to shoot them down and put them down like dogs.
Yeah. They are doing their best.
A little bit too belligerent?
No, dude, I agree. They're doing their best to deman people. Okay, they really, really are. I mean, all right, they want to stop grip and strong. How about they ban the word like jar and lid? Let's see them ban those. Yeah, you heard me. I said it.
I mean, I'm trying to understand what these people are thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Industrial state in Mosir, Belarus. Russian soldiers loading the killed and wounded onto a special train back to Russia. At least 8 such military ambulance buses were spotted in Mosir today. Okay, that's okay.
I can tell you that one. It is proof that Putin is doing necromancy. He intends to have the people come back to life and march upon his enemies. There you go.
The Russian defense ministry is claiming aerial superiority over the Ukraine.
Not difficult.
Why aren't you claiming supremacy?
Yeah.
All right, there's a difference between superiority and supremacy.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I mean, it's good. I mean, or from their standpoint, but to me, it seems like you're still not serious about taking control of this.
Sean has a comment. They're on trains. Are they going to the showers? Yeah, they're trying to wash them clean. I can't see at any point where going on trains could be an awkward thing. Can you? Especially not in that area of the world. No, not at all.
It's interesting that they're seeing things from Wazir. I mean, in Belarus, it's almost as if they're allowing them to actually say things.
Yeah.
You know, the Russian army uses a chocolate factory as a base.
Willy Wonka assault rifles. This is what you're telling me.
I'm not saying that there aren't Ukrainian chocolate factories, but I'm
You've now got to try and get your head around the concept of Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka with an AK-47 in his hand. But actually, that's kind of scary as a concept. Just pointing it out.
I'm not sure. Here's an interesting one. A big Russian column of tanks, grads, tankers destroyed with artillery and drones near Lebedian.
Oh, yes. Did you hear? Apparently, there's a Ukrainian MP, and they claim that the Ukrainians are fighting on behalf of the New World Order. Did you hear that one?
The Ukrainian MPs are claiming that the Ukrainians are fighting on behalf of the New World Order.
Yes, they're fighting against the Russians for the benefit of the New World Order. At what point does this sound like a good thing to anybody?
Why would somebody like that say something like that? That's just dumb.
Yeah, apparently it was said in whatever their parliament's called.
I know that the parliament is Duma in Russia, but
Yeah,
I can say you claiming that the Russians would do that, but why would you claim that your own people are doing that?
yeah. No, I agree. This actually kind of suggests, and this is humorous all on its own, that Putin is actually fighting against the New World Order. What does that say about which people we're helping out?
Well, yeah, but I mean, how did you? No, let's be honest. That's probably Russian misinformation. I
hope so.
I seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
One of their ministers of parliament would say something stupid like that.
Yeah.
All right, but it does say that they're not really doing. They're not in serious telling things of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they're not serious about blowing stuff up. There's a lot of fighting around Kharkiv, right?
Okay.
Which looks a bit serious, all right. But the question is, I know a lot of people are like, well, they're worried that they're going to do an old style starvation and surrounding of Kiev.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you. Here, let's go back over this again. All right, this is from Live Map of the Ukraine. Right, this is Kiev. Right, we're making an assumption that these are the Russian areas.
Yeah.
That have been conquered. Right, this is something now that actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right, where they're actually trying to go out through this area to take out. They're gonna try and hit this artery.
Yeah.
All right, and it looks like they've blown up a few of these things here. Right, including a few airfields.
Hmm.
This looks like an attempt to surround Kiev.
Yeah. My God, is there enough airfields around this? Are you looking? I know. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you with that, but Lordy, is there
Airfield
enough
here, airfield
airfields?
here, airfield here. I doubt that I suspect that they've already taken this airfield. If this is where,
Yeah.
let's see
I
what it
mean,
was.
just in
Classes,
the
snipers, tanks deployed to Barzal. All right. If they have started moving in these directions down here,
yeah.
which this makes sense from the way that would go here. They're probably pushing and going to try and cut off the road right here, hit this junction right here.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I don't know if they take this area here, they could, I guess, go down, right? But most likely they're going to try and take this whole area. Specifically, this bit. This is going to be a bridge, a major choke point to try and take this bridge,
Yeah.
right? I can see them trying to do that, right? But it doesn't explain why they're taking their piddly ass little time.
Hmm. Like, I mean, you and I were chatting about this earlier, and you found the only picture that finally, and I do truly mean this, finally showed some traps being put out. And were they or were they not ridiculous?
Well, they were a civilian, all right. I mean,
Which is another word for yes.
well, I mean, were they going to be effective? No. All right, but it was
Hmm.
obviously a civilian roadblock, right?
Yeah.
And it was from a civilian standpoint, it was thought out. All right, would it really stop anything? No. Was there
No.
a bunch of Russian trucks in the distance? It looked like it, but I don't know if there was really anything going on with it. To be honest.
Let's be honest, dude. Even with the tank traps you saw there, two BMPs going forward at a half decent speed, just going to push that aside and keep on going and not even slow down.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, a squad could have taken out that entire thing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been the platoon would have sent a squad to go take care of that while they reported to the company to let the trucks roll.
Mm. Hey, boss, the idiots have put up a blockade. Is it making any difference? No, not really.
Let's take a look
Okay,
at this
carry on.
Russian column that's supposedly destroyed here.
Hmm.
Um. Okay.
Again, I'm going to point out because I said this to you earlier, all right? Most of what you see could easily be Ukrainian stuff that's been taken out because Ukrainians and the Russians have got incredibly similar hardware. So
Well,
we
yeah.
might be looking at a bunch of Ukrainian stuff that's been wiped out, and they're claiming it's Russian stuff.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
no, I agree with you. I do
Mhm.
agree that that's the case, but the question is I'm trying to see what else, by looking at this. To me, I'm seeing what, three vehicles, maybe four,
Yep, about right.
all right? And this is considerably after the fact, all right?
Yeah.
I really am beginning to wonder if one of the things that isn't happening, all right,
Mm.
is the Russians are told to move to an area, which they do, all
Yeah.
right, and then they get attacked, and then when their vehicles get hit, they just jump out of the vehicles and run back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. By the way, the picture you just showed, okay, if you looked in the background, you saw more damage done there than a hit that was supposed to have been done by an MLRS. That's ridiculous. I mean, seriously, that's a freaking joke.
I
Okay.
can't argue that point. Um, I mean, there is that is an issue, right?
Yeah.
But this is what they're showing around Kiev, and they are showing more activity around Kiev as if they are trying to, you know, surrounded.
Yeah.
Okay, um, but the Russians are moving. I hate to say this, but from what I can tell, the Russians are moving at will.
Yeah.
Okay, they really do appear to be moving at will when they want to move.
Yeah.
All right, I don't see the Ukrainians, because if you take a look where these artillery and these missile hits are happening, right?
Hmm.
I mean, this is they're showing missile hits, 10, 15 miles beyond where they're supposedly at. If that's the case, you're not trying to hit the flight, you're still hitting the back. And if you can get that deep into the back constantly,
Hmm.
okay, what is it that they're trying to do? All right. See, that's the thing I keep asking about is you don't see any of this stuff. And like I said, people are dying. All right. I think
Hmm.
people are dying, but there's not a concerted effort here.
I
Right.
would just
Even
like.
though some of the guys I was listening to, an ex CIA guy, he was saying the same. He was saying the same thing that I've been saying. He's saying the Russians look like they tried to move in with less than 20% of the troops that they had and supposedly surrounded this area with. Well, if you're
Yeah.
going in with 20%, a fifth of what you have available, are you really serious about moving in?
True. I just want to bring up something to Shirati. Yes, I also have heard this. This is very true, and luckily, the Ukrainians are completely incapable of getting a brush, some paint on it, and putting a Z on the back of any of their stuff. Thankfully, they haven't actually developed paintbrushes or paint. It's an amazing thing. Just saying, Han. Okay, I understand what you're trying to say, but also, if you look carefully, you don't actually see a Z on the back of anything, or Z for you lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen a few things with Russians driving past with a Z on the vehicles, but
Yeah, again, I'm going to point out you see the vehicles driving past with the Z on them. You don't mean that they know Russians, okay? I'm telling you now. The first, there was even a rumor that that was going on. The first thing I would do is look at the commander and go, "You're an idiot," and then paint a Z on the back of the vehicle. All right? It's just like, you mean that that means they won't shoot at us? Hmm. Let me think about this for a second. No, no, I want to accept their bullets because I'm so manly. Yeah, sure.
well, then again, if your air power is the other way, right? Then it kind of depends on whether or not you control the air, right?
And who controls the air?
Uh, well,
Good point, actually.
I
Yeah.
mean that's something I've been talking about for a while,
Fair, fair.
right? But the other thing about this is, like I was saying before about Vlad. Vlad doesn't look like he's impatient with any of this. Where does this thing that Vlad's getting impatient? Where do you see that at?
No,
Right? Well, all you see that is in the media. You're not seeing it on his face.
no.
You know, you're not seeing anything reported from Russia, right? Well, the Russians are reporting any of this stuff.
Hmm.
Now, we did start initially hear about. This is one of the reasons why cutting off the internet for the Russians is stupid.
Yeah,
Right? If we were hearing about protests and so forth, well, if those protests are going to continue, all right, they need to have access to the internet, right?
yeah.
That's where they do a lot of the coordination from. So it would be stupid to block the Russians from using the internet, don't you think?
I agree, and I'm actually questioning whether it was actually us that severed the internet or whether Putin's lot actually got rid of it. Because again, stops the communication lines that the protesters are using.
Yeah. See, that would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Right?
uh,
I mean, I'm not saying that, but the other problem with it is if you use those, the internet can be used to bypass, okay,
yeah,
the banking shit, right?
yeah.
So I can see why we would do it too, but uh, like with the blocking them out of Swift and so forth,
Yeah.
it has caused a run at the ATMs, all right, in
Hmm.
Russia. Okay, that's one thing that is being reported to show as a response. But is that enough to change Vlad's idea or of what Vlad is trying to do here?
No, again, based on the things that you said about this last time, this is actually only really going to harm other people that are oligarchs there. He himself is not going to give a monkey's crap about this. Let's be honest.
I think
Do
it'll
you
give him
really
an
see him?
opportunity to take an even more iron fisted stance. To be honest,
Yep. Yep.
right? And temporarily stopping them from going into their like their Wall Street or their exchanges and saying, okay, we're not going to trade. We're not going to trade these things. We're going to stop all trade on these stocks that are Russian and everything. I hate to tell you that, but that doesn't harm them.
No.
Okay, all right, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a freeze on the it's a freeze of movement, right? They can't easily sell their stocks and everything for the warlords, all
Yeah.
right? But that unless you kind of make it a permanent kind of a thing, it's not going to happen, right? And I
I'll,
don't see none of this stuff being permanent. It's at least not that they've been talking.
I'll give you a bit of a chuckle. Remember, we was watching. Oh, we saw that thing. It was a good idea to get the vodka and to just pour it all over the floor. That way, it's going to really make a difference to the Russians. Do you remember seeing that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that vodka actually is from Latvia, not Russia. I know. Poor bloody Latvians. What did they do to anybody?
I mean, there's a lot of shelling that's going on.
Hmm.
I keep hearing about these heavy clashes in the Lushank region, right?
Yeah.
But we don't really know what's really going on in those areas. I mean, I don't I see a lot of them reporting that they're getting shelled, but I don't see they're reporting that they're shelling Russian positions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something else that I'd like to see, right? Show me some real stuff here. You know,
Hmm.
it's like this one here. We did this one earlier.
Hmm.
Let's go back to share
Okay.
screen. Blah blah blah. Okay, remember this one?
Oh, the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now we don't see enough of this to understand what this artillery piece was doing,
But
right?
it's not scavved. They would have scavved that straight away. Not the least being the gun on the top. I mean, look at
So
it.
here's my first question: Who's the idiot running? There's a Z painted on it. It's a pretty
Yeah.
thin Z. I'm not sure I could see that if I was
Hmm.
if I was an Air Force guy. I wouldn't notice that.
Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it. In all fairness, if I knew that painting a Z on the front means the Americans wouldn't attack me, I wouldn't do it because, let's be fair, it's the Americans. They'll probably shoot the shit out of it just because it's got, the wrong symbols on it. Like, it's allies.
Hey, if you really want to start going into some of the things that you guys have done and some of the friendly fire that you guys have created,
Did the enemy die? Yes. End statement.
not always.
More often than not.
Did, can you tell me exactly what happened in the Crimean War when you sent the freaking light brigade forward?
We were showing off. Next. We was helping a poem get writ. What's your problem? See, we're cultured. You lot don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Who exactly did that help?
The author, duh.
The author.
I can come up with excuses. You got to give it that.
I don't think that was going to be the intent.
No.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there.
Mm.
Which, if you go back to that, the problem with that entire thing was the Rupert that the commander sent to tell the light brigade to charge.
Yeah.
All right. For those who don't know, during the Crimean War, there was a there's an memorialized, I guess, in poetry, the charge of the Light Brigade,
Yeah.
right? Where the only meaningful cavalry that had not been engaged yet, all right, in a battle against the Russians, was ordered to attack um, some Russians who, quite frankly, were leaving, but they were leaving with guns that the Turks had abandoned during the battle. Now,
Hmm.
the Turks, for those who don't know, the Turks had held on without any support from their quote unquote French and British allies for over 2 hours.
I blame the French for that.
All right, for over 2 hours with literal no support and an enemy at 5 times their size attacking them. Right, so they got overrun. Right, the British, when they finally got there, were upset because the Turks were fleeing. Right, and the Turks are like, "Where the fuck have you guys been?" Okay.
No, it's true, but will point out one thing. Yet another battle that America turned up late for. Oh no, that's right. It didn't even turn up at all.
We were getting ready for our own shindig, so you know,
Oh, I
which was
see. It was yeah,
which
that
was
was a
going to be
private party.
which let's be honest was considerably worse than any of the shit that you saw in the Crimea. All right,
This is true.
all right. So before you start patting yourselves on the back there, right? So the uh, the the commander, all right, didn't want those guns, all right, to the Russians to get away with those guns, right?
Yeah.
And so he basically looked around and said, "Okay, who can I have to try and attack these guys, right? To prevent these guns from being taken back." And because of it, that was the battle for Sevastopol.
Yeah.
Let's be perfectly honest. The fact that you couldn't get the guns back, that was the end of the battle, right? Um, so he said he finds that the light brigade hasn't been engaged, and so he sends a Rupert to go tell them to go attack those guys that are fleeing with the guns to prevent them from getting those guns, right?
Yeah.
The Rupert comes back and tells him, "All right, go charge and take those guns and prevent them from getting away with the guns." The guy's like, "What the hell are you talking about? Look, they're right over there." And the people that he pointed to were the entrenched Russian position.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the Turks and the guns. The guy's like, "What? You've given your orders. Charge." Okay.
Hmm. Again, never trust a Rupert. I have said this from the beginning, and I will die on that hill. Never trust a Rupert.
And it's obvious which group that he wanted them to charge to,
Oh
which
yeah.
were on the flanks. Now, whether or not the light brigade would have been able to actually execute it would have been interesting, because it would have been a long. They would have had to flank to the right, all right, quite a ways, all right. But it's not like, but that's that wouldn't have been a bad thing, right? It's just whether or not they could have gotten there in time, right?
Yeah.
It would have been the question. I mean, they were able to get to charge those freaking in place guns in time.
Yeah. Well.
Not a good scene, right?
No.
And I
No.
really think that you guys should have found out who that middleman was and just executed him right to the there. I mean, I would have been absolutely freaking furious if I was the commander and I saw that going, "What the hell are they doing?" I'm like, "Who the hell told you to do this?" And if somebody goes, "Oh, it was this guy that told us to do that." "Oh no, I didn't tell him that." I'll be like, "Oh no, we're getting to the bottom of this because someone's going down for this stuff."
You got to remember that back in those times, the British Army had one or two problems. Let's be honest, it weren't that many years later we had the absolute genius known as Haig, who went, Let's march forward towards the German guns really slowly. That's bound to surprise them. Really? Really? Yeah, okay. You're an idiot, Field Marshal. Deal with it.
Yeah. But back to the dealing with the Russians today. The Russians have
Yeah.
their own view of things, and they don't. They are a very highly disciplined force. When they're told move to this area and stop, they move to that area and stop. And unless you
Yeah.
tell them to move again, they're going to stay there.
It's usually because their commissar will shoot their ass if they move. Let's be fair.
Well, I don't know if they have commissars anymore, do they?
Probably not, actually, to be honest with you. Since, air quote, the party disappeared, the commissars, you don't generally hear about them, I have to admit. Don't mean they don't exist, you don't hear about them. Just saying.
As you can see, I'm stuffed up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't. Like I said, the Russians are not. They're moving in with a velveted glove. They really are. Right? They're
Yeah.
not trying to hammer this as hard as they could. Everybody can see that. Right?
Yeah.
Now, whether or not this is, it's still not a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but they're not trying massive attacks, and this idea that they're driving these attacks off, I don't see it.
No.
Right now, like I said, if they were advised that they would be able to go in there and can kill kill Zelensky and his cronies and take over, right, and that would be an easy walk in. Well, that was just stupid. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate to put it to anybody, but you're going to have to surround that city, right, and then go door to door, house to house fighting, which is the nastiest, dirtiest, hardest thing to do because you're fighting for yards, and you've got to have a lot of troops, right, to blanket the area to prevent to prevent the enemy from moving. All right.
Yeah.
This is the thing that people don't understand about military tactics. Military tactics are they're simple in description, right? For example, find out where the enemy is. Okay, well, in this case, the Russians are looking at the enemy as the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are in Kiev. Okay, good. All right. So the next thing you have to do is fix the enemy, which means make sure that the enemy doesn't leave Kiev.
Yeah.
Fix them in place so you can try and destroy them. I don't see the Russians attempting to fix any Ukrainians.
No.
That's why I'm asking about this stuff, because it's like, where's the attempt to fix the militaries of the military units so that you go in there and destroy them and then move on? I don't see them even attempting to do that. Now, if they decide to say to hell with it, just start blowing the holy hell out of everything and just start slaughtering everything. First of all, it's well within the capabilities and the mental capabilities of Putin to say, okay, gloves are off. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
since it isn't working that way, let's try something else. All right, bring in bring in the hammer. All right, that's the Russian solution to things, folks.
Yeah.
The Russian solution is, did you get the big hammer?
Line of tanks, 5,000 strong. Drive forward, kill everything in front of you. Okay, that pretty much covers that problem.
Right now they're walking in, we're just going, okay, we just hit it a couple times with a hammer, and then we run back.
Yeah.
But at some point they will sit up there and they have that ability. Putin is not afraid to sit up there and go, okay, bring out the big hammer. No, all of them. Right?
Yeah.
No, not the nuclear one. Put that one away. I still don't think there's going to be a nuclear attack.
No, nor do I.
I do think that his alerting the forces like that was a scare tactic. I do think it's intended to scare the West. I do think it's got a lot of people terrified. You gotta admit it was effective in that regard. When people heard that he put their nuclear forces on high alert, everyone went pucker factor started shrieking on down.
I have to say, I wonder what he would have done is the second he done that, if America went, oh, DEFCON 1.
Well,
That
DEFCON
would have
1 means
been,
you order the attack, or so DEFCON 2 would have been
yeah, I know which one I picked.
it.
But, it's very much a case of, yeah, go on. I dare you. You just open one of those doors.
I guarantee you, what we've done is we have gone from whatever our posture was, which is normally around 4. I
Yeah,
bet we're at least at 3. If not, I bet we're at 3 now.
I would hope so.
All right, which is not a good thing for the world, right?
No.
People don't understand if we go what'll happen if we go full bore. And there are Russians who believe that they can throw a few tactical nukes and that there wouldn't be a response.
Yeah, that's
Right?
going to go well.
No, that won't go well. Well, now the worst part about it is I say that any president up to Obama and Biden, though, I don't know what they'll do.
Hmm.
I really don't. I don't know if Biden would respond, all right, to a nuclear strike. Now, I suspect that he wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, but
Mhm.
at the same time, if the Russians use a tactical nuke on a city, now that's the other thing is why would they use a tactical nuke on a city? Well, they want to
Yeah,
kill everybody in the city. Okay, you can, they may go into with that mentality. Okay, but the question then is then what's the point of having the city?
yeah,
All right. I mean, I hate to say that, but I don't see. So I don't see the Russians using this escalation force this way, right? They would have to use some kind of and the Russians have tactical nukes too. So
hmm,
don't think that they don't. They have the ability to use them, but I just don't see them really going all out to try and do any of this. Now, there's several reasons that could be happening, but I'll be honest with you. To me, it's like he's just flicking, you know, chips off of a table. You know what I mean?
yeah. My
It's like,
advice, by the way, you should just sending a few biological weapons that'll deal with a lot of problems.
yeah, well, they hit a bunch of bio labs that were being funded by the U.S. and the Ukraine. In the Ukraine, I don't think that they're gonna try, then turn around and start throwing bio weapons anywhere, right? Bioweapons, chemical weapons, all right, are terror weapons. They're not military force multipliers.
True. One thing before you do, you say that they hit a few of the factories over there, yeah?
Yes.
Haven't heard anything from Fauci recently, have we? Just
No.
saying. Just saying. It's
Well,
interesting. That's all.
we have a quote unquote State of the Union where Biden is going to try and talk up about all of his achievements and
Hmm.
what they're getting ready to try and do. I can tell you right now is they're going to try and declare COVID over.
Hmm.
All right, because they've been telegraphing that now to try and get out from under you know you, how incompetent that he is.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they're also the CDC is now rewriting its regulations, its
Again.
requirements now as
Mm.
to when somebody dies of COVID versus somebody dying with COVID. All right,
Hmm.
to try and drop the numbers. All right, but we'll see where that goes with what they're doing, right, and how they're trying to rewrite that. But Biden doesn't have a leg to stand on right now, and the idea that okay, you're going to do something hard with this, people are going to be expecting things to come out of this battle, to come out of this thing with the Ukraine, and they're going to be expecting Putin to have backed down.
Yeah.
You want Putin to back down? You're going to have to do something that causes him to back down. Nothing that you've seen so far from any of the world leaders, from any whether it's the Germans, the Russians, or anybody else, the Ukrainians, or anybody else. Nothing I've seen is going to is at a point where it's going to cause Putin to back down,
Yeah.
or cause Putin to blink, or cause Putin to stop. Right? And having waifu in dumb shit, I want to duct tape my teenager to the ceiling, right? Uh, so far, I haven't seen anything. Have you?
No. And by the way, you with what she said, does that surprise you in any way?
No, no, that's what teenagers need anyway. It's very true. It's a very true statement. Okay, I've been going on for about an hour. I just want to do a quick little thing here,
Okay.
so I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm pretty much covered, but thank you very much for inviting me on, and thank you for coming and listening, people.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.
Bye.